My best pieces of content have not been shot on this camera. In fact, it has been shot on my old iPhone 11. And I say all of this to say to you, you do not need to do anything fancy to build up an amazing social media content strategy as a B2B business. In this video, I'll break down everything that you need to do to actually create content and what you need to be thinking about and how to come up with a content plan for your B2B company and service. Before we get into it though, I've actually made a full AI content system, which you can have for free. It's a part of my AI sales system, which I've put together in a Notion document. It's free. Press the link in the description. It's all yours. Let's get into the video. So the first thing that most founders and B2B business owners ask me is, am I going to have to get on camera? Now, my personal opinion is it is good to have a head of the company. It is good to have a face of the company because humans connect with other humans. So it does help. And another question people ask me is, am I going to have to post every day? Now, that really depends. A lot of the biggest companies that I see on social media do post every day. A lot of the companies that we work with that do very well also post every day. And that's small businesses doing £100,000 a year to major businesses doing over £250,000, £500,000, £1 million and £10 million. Those are the ranges of business that we work with personally. And a lot of them are posting quite frequently. In fact, one of our biggest clients are at the point where they're posting sometimes 2 times a day and they handle multiple millions. So there is a bit of wiggle room, but consistency does improve your skill set. So the first thing that people always ask me is, yo, what do I need? Do I need to have this fancy camera, fancy setup? And let me tell you something. It's not always about the tools. It's about how you use those tools, right? Me and you know that Messi is the best footballer to ever play the game. You could put some old, dirty Diadora football boots on Messi, and then you could put his nice, fancy Adidas boots on me, and I still will never be as good as him. It's not always about your tools. So the same thing applies when it comes to creating content for your business. Keep it very basic. Like you might see me here in my office and I've got a nice setup. I've got a backdrop. I've got a mic, I've got all of that, but you don't need it. This is what you need. You need a phone. And on this phone, you have a camera. These cameras are getting better and better every year. I've got an iPhone 15 Pro, I think it is, and I've got an iPhone 11. Obviously, my camera on this is better, but either way, most of you have an iPhone 11 or above. It's the settings that you put on the phone that makes it important. Most people, I would say, shoot in 4K, 24 frames per second. Simple. Leave it at that. The next thing is audio. Most people will forgive bad visual, but they will not forgive bad audio. Most B2B businesses will benefit from having this. It is called a lapel mic. And you can see here, it has a headphone jack which you would plug into your phone, and all you would need to do is get an adapter. Then I would recommend getting a tripod. I've got a ring light right here, and that's it. That setup will cost you 50 quid. Obviously, the phone is an additional cost, which you should have a phone anyway. So that's all you need. That's all you need. And to even think about it from this aspect, someone within your company, because I'm talking to you business owners right now, someone within your company can probably help you shoot some videos when you're in the office or when you guys meet up. Simple things, even a family member. Like me, sometimes I get my nephew to help out. Sometimes I meet with my business partner. I mix it up. Then I'll get my camera and I'll shoot my own stuff. Another thing you could do, for those of you that are willing to invest in a cheap and cheerful camera that's very high quality, you get a DJI. This is personally my favorite camera now. I've got a DJI Pocket 3. I don't use it as much as I should, but it helps me create content on the go. I can do storytelling content. I have a mic attached to it. Like, it's really, really valuable for me and probably my favorite device that I've got as of recent, although I'm not making the most out of it because I still have an amazing Sony camera. If you want to level up, then yeah, you invest in the Canon, you invest in a Sony camera. I would get a Sony A7, A7 III, A7 IV is out now. You can get an A6 400. I've got an A6 400. You can get A6 100, whatever. I'm not a camera channel, but you get my point. Now, once you've got the gear, you should also think about your surroundings. I have a home office and I also have a living room. So I usually shoot in those 2 locations. It's just easy for me. My camera is here 24/7. If you know where I live, you could probably come in and steal it. Don't do that. But it lives here, which is perfectly good for me. I like it. I can just wake up, mic is on, turn it on, I can record. You want to make your setup simple so you don't have to keep breaking it down and bringing it back up. That's the hardest thing. That's why I don't like doing a podcast, because you have to break it down and bring it up unless you use a studio. So this is like an easy setup for me and I can make it work. You need to find your setup. Do it. Find somewhere in the house, decent background. It could be a plain background, and make sure you got somewhere you can actually set up the camera, full frame. Make sure you're in the video, head isn't cut off, arms aren't cut off, make it work. Simple. So the next thing we need to talk about as B2B businesses is content types. Most businesses struggle with this because most of you make really, really boring content. I speak to founders every day, right? We run ads, we get loads of calls booked, and I go on their social media pages and I'm like, Jesus Christ, who made this social media plan? So most of the time, you just have to think of it like this. Think of your content in buckets. Imagine this cup is a bucket. Every time you make some content, you're basically filling up a bucket, right, with your audience. And ultimately, what do you want to do? People buy from people they trust. So I need to make so much content that you trust me. And I personally have 8 different content types that I like to give people. I'm going to list them out and I'm going to explain them as I go. So the first one is like just simple talking head videos. This is high value content where you're giving tips and tricks. For example, if you're an accountant, you might have a video that says 5 ways to save thousands on your tax bill this year. It's very simple. This is the simplest type of content you can make. It's the lowest effort, but it's easy because if you are an expert in your field, it's easy to talk about. Me, I don't even script content anymore because I know what I'm talking about. Number 2 is controversial opinions. You have opinions. You're a human being. You're allowed to have beliefs. So if there's anything that you don't believe in or you do believe in, don't be afraid to talk about it. For example, I think that we pay way too much tax in the UK as business owners. So trust me, I'm going to make some YouTube videos about the tax problem that we have here in the UK, personally. All right. Some people will say, hey, you should be paying your taxes. It's controversial. All right. But I'm not doing it to be a bad person. I'm doing it because it's what I believe in. A lot of businesses are scared to stand on what they believe in, which means they don't stand out in the social media market. The next thing is case studies and testimonials. You are a good business. I hope you are. If you run a successful business, we need to hear about it. If you've got clients that have done a great job, like, scream about them to the top of your lungs. An example I can give you is our client, Evolve Tax. They're a tax strategist and they move companies offshore to Dubai. Like, they are very good at what they do and they have case studies where they've saved companies millions. That is very, very powerful. The next thing is behind the scenes content. You need to humanize your brand. So one of the things I notice, especially with big B2B companies, is they're very afraid to humanize their company. And the biggest problem they face is that basically they don't show behind the scenes and how they do things. So a big thing for us is like, we like to show how we build our AI automations. We like to show how we build our content plans. Everything we do and we build, we like to show. And that's really the key. The next one is company story. Like, we want to know more about your company. Like, everyone knows the McDonald's story. Everyone knows the Netflix story. In fact, the guy who made Netflix has a book and I read the book. All of these different things matter. So for you, it's very important that you learn how to basically tell a story. Tell that story about your business, about your company, about how you started it, why you started it, your impact statement. All of this is very, very valuable for you as a business owner. The next one is curated insights. I like this personally because this is relevant and trendy. Because let's say there's things that's happening in your world right now, you should be talking about it. For example, when we talk about AI, we'll try and find topics that are relevant to what's happening right now. The only issue with this particular content style is it has to be very quickly made and produced because you need to get it out now when it's relevant. And then you've got things that are a bit more interactive. So you make content with the goal of trying to get people to engage with you. That could be comments, Q&A, stuff like that. You could be going live. Some businesses do benefit from this approach. So now you've got an idea of what to make. How frequently should you be making it is the next question. Now, if you're a B2B business, I think there's 2 platforms that you should maybe focus on and one additional one that could help nurture you. The first one is LinkedIn. I think everyone kind of knows this. If you work B2B, LinkedIn is probably the best place for you. It's a great place to post content. There are very easy content formats you can post on LinkedIn. So for me, LinkedIn is a clear winner when it comes to posting content. And the good thing with LinkedIn is you can do written content, which a lot of people are very good at writing, but you can also do video. And they both perform very well on LinkedIn. So my first thing I would say to you is go out there, make some LinkedIn content. It does help. I would also say post 3 to 5 times a week on LinkedIn. Any more than 5 times a week, I see diminishing returns. You could go every day, Saturday and Sunday, but I see a complete plummet in my engagement on the weekend. So I would just stick to that. The next thing is Instagram. So the same things that I post on LinkedIn, I post on Instagram, but I post in a different format because Instagram is a very visual platform. Video obviously does very well. Images do well. Carousels can do well as well. That was a bit wordy, but you get my point. So my advice to you is post on Instagram as well, but don't make it be a primary focus because it's not the best for B2B. And lastly, I would focus on YouTube. The benefit of YouTube is mainly because it nurtures your audience. I do not make these videos to try and sell you anything because my role is to make you believe I can help you generate more business for yourself through paid marketing and through AI. So for me to do that, I need you to believe me and trust me. And the reality is that just because you came across my DM on LinkedIn or my email doesn't mean you trust me. So I make this content to get you to trust me. And if you run B2B businesses, there are people within that organization that may sit down and watch your videos if you have valuable information about what you do. So that's the benefit of making videos just like the video I'm making right now. YouTube, you don't make YouTube to be a YouTuber. You're not making YouTube to be famous. You're just doing it as an addition to what you've already built and to help nurture people that are in your pipeline and that are already in your inbox or on your mailing list. That is the power of YouTube. And because of the time frame, people sit there and they usually binge watch a few videos, and that's what makes it so powerful. You have to be strategic. Here's what I like to do. I make a long YouTube video once a week, but I batch record. So usually on a Friday or a Saturday, I'll sit down and record 2 to 3 hours worth of content. I will get them all edited through my editor. And then once it goes to my editor, I then post it on YouTube. Then I use AI through a software called Opus Clips. And then I get that chopped up into short form clips. I also shoot short form clips as well. However, I primarily focus on YouTube and long form. And then that short form stuff then gets distributed across YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, and TikTok. So those are the 4 mediums that I use in order to keep pushing my videos. It's very simple. It's a very simple format. And for you, especially as a busy business owner, I recommend just batch recording as much as you can. That's the best way. Batch record, batch record, batch record. It will save you a lifetime. This is where a lot of business owners go wrong. You need to analyze what's done well versus what hasn't done well, and then just make more of what's doing well. Yeah, so keep it simple. Make more of what's doing well, and that will help you as a B2B founder. My last real point here to make is you as a business owner need to think about your time. I speak to a lot of business owners and they tell me they are very, very busy. I'm very, very busy. You're very, very busy. You cannot be sitting there trying to edit your own videos every day. That is crazy. In fact, when I see people doing it, I get a bit worried. Like, why are you even doing this? So the truth is, you need to think of it like this. Outsource, outsource, outsource. And if you want to know how to outsource, there are some very simple platforms you can go to. Fiverr, Upwork, and YT Jobs. Those are the best places that I've found to get editors. Then send them some reference footage, get them to send you a draft, and then pick an editor that you like. Agree a cadence with the editor, and then you're done. And create a simple system. The system that I use is I record my videos, upload them to a Google Drive. That automatically pings my editor to let them know that, hey, it's editing time. They edit, it gets uploaded to Frame. Frame is where I can review the videos and request changes. Once it's done, that editor then schedules my content on whatever platform I'm putting it on. That's it. Then I'll handle a little bit from there because I do like to be involved in the process, but I can't sit there and edit my videos all day because that takes time and I'm not a video editor. If you're a founder, editing your videos, you are wasting time, genuinely. And if you do want to edit videos, use platforms that make it easier for you. Use AI. Use softwares like Descript or CapCut. But I'm telling you, you don't want to be wasting your time doing all that. You need to free yourself from doing all the technical work and just focus on strategy. But to make your life easier, I've actually put together a full AI sales system that involves the content strategy. You can have it for free. I've actually left the link in the description. So you should probably go there, click that, and it's all yours.